Hey everyone, I'm Ezra Soriano.
And I'm Karla Torres. Today we're going to be addressing the importance of having multidisciplinary teams for tackling disease with technology.
As we learned from reading three different articles this week, the number of necessary people required for a program is endless.
We only have a few minutes here today, so we're only going to talk about the most important components and people.
The first article I'm going to talk about describes a program called SPAD, which aims to minimize sex trafficking and sex workers in India, which has recently become a big problem there. By promoting awareness, providing education and care with organized teams, this program has managed to efficiently tackle this problem. In terms of creating an actual team, though the article did not explicitly speak of this, for any program or intervention, it is important to have some form of an executive board that oversees all operations. At the top, there should be some form of high command, a president or CEO type figure, to make the NGOs or intervention's biggest decisions. Described briefly in this article were the responsibilities of the financial advisor, which include keeping accounts of all expenses, formulating a budget, paying people, and also communicating closely with other board members. On most teams, there should also be some form of legal advisor. Within this SPAD program, being that they were working with the World Bank and other nonprofit organizations in another country, it was important for them to know that everything they did was legal. While there are probably 10 to 15 more board positions for SPAD program, one specific important position mentioned in the article was the logistics manager. If the correct people are not contacted, such as the people in the World Bank, the right doctors, the right educators, the right living accommodations, or even transportation, if everything's not worked out to the last detail, programs can be unsuccessful. While each board position may have its own defined role, the collaboration between each unit is what can drive a program to success. I don't want to take up too much more time, but there are many more important roles that this program used. Some include doctors and nurses to treat patients, social media to promote this program, volunteers to carry out interviews to get quantitative and qualitative data, teachers and psychologists to teach others of the dangers of HIV and AIDS, translators, writers to document all their findings, and of course statisticians to prove their findings with data.
In the following article we read, it describes the roles of NGOs in HIV STD prevention and care. According to the article, NGOs work together outside the government to address a need and advance costs or defend an interest. Typically, NGOs focus on one single issue, but some attempt to meet the broader needs of various communities. The main objective of NGOs are to educate, advocate, and operate on certain issues that the government has not touched upon. In this case, regarding HIV, NGOs help set 4 trends that are being touched upon in the AIDS prevention programs. The first being that NGOs act as a voice for the people living with AIDS. Secondly, NGOs target specific groups to educate them about AIDS and how they can be prevented. Thirdly, NGOs provide access to health care and certain drugs. And lastly, they advocate for peer education. In order for any of these things to be done, NGOs plan, implement, and review different national aid plans already existing. The last scholarly article we read talks about the expert RIF test diagnostic replacing smear microscopy in regards to HIV associated with tuberculosis in South Africa. In order for this study to be done, hospitals looked over children of 15 years of age to compare their diagnosis accuracy. The article didn't specifically mention teams being created. However, there is one main group that contributed in creating this case. The main team needed in this case were the doctors and nurses treating the patients who have been diagnosed with HIV. They were the ones that completed the physical examinations in which they overlooked the chest radiography, tuberculosis skin test, and HIV testing in children who were diagnosed with HIV. From there, the doctors are able to record whether RIF testing is better to use on children rather than the smear test. Those doctors were able to conclude that the RIF test indicated twice as many cases than those of the smear test. That is all for this week. Thank you for watching.